Hello, Confetti Club. It is Pixie. Welcome back to another video. Actually, more specifically, welcome back to another crafternoon. I have a specific little craft here, but I think it can be applied to a lot of different kind of interests, a lot of different ways of life. You can probably tell by the title and by the little friends we have here. I want to talk about shoe altering, shoe painting, giving shoes a little glow up. You guys know I'm in the midst right now of working on my debut collection. I'm about to graduate fashion school, and I have a really big focus on sustainability. And while right now it's just not possible for me to have every single zipper and every single fabric, I know exactly how to trace it. I want to control everything I can, and I really wanted to avoid buying any shoes new because I feel like there's a really big gap in the market right now for sustainable or ethically made footwear. Fashion, we're kind of getting there, but footwear, it's just like I just have to go on Depop or thrift, and honestly, I haven't bought any new shoes since I went fast fashion free. I've just been wearing my old stuff. But for the case of my fashion collection, none of my models are my shoe size. I'm a size 8 and my models are like 6, 6, 6, and 10, 10, 10. So I found myself in a little predicament. And I think this is where perhaps my history as a cosplayer comes in handy, because I know I had heard about this type of Angelus leather paint. I literally Googled leather paint for shoes, cosplay shoe paint, cosplay, the good paint for shoes for cosplay. And just like the only result was this brand. So it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, my little shoe fiends, but it seems like this Angelus brand has quite a monopoly on this area, which is fine. You know, if you get the formula down perfect, you own that. So I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos because it is quite an investment to get into this. I headed to the thrift store and I thrifted 6 pairs of shoes for all of my models that were in pretty good to really good condition. These are a mostly finished pair here. I will address the shoe elephant in the room. I do need to put the like matte finishing layer on it. These need quite a few more coats of yellow. These were black originally, so it's a little bit more of a journey to get them to the color I want. And I think I'm also going to go over these parts with pink. And then over here, I have a Nike Virginus. This is the way that I got them from the thrift store. And these are the ones that we're going to be painting today. So before I invested in all of the paints and the primers and the finishing coats and the alcohol and the shoes, I definitely recommend that you like study this and make sure that you aren't missing out anything when you place your order. Also, you kind of have to know what shoe you're painting before you place the order too, because there's also things like this softener and the hardener that you have to mix in with certain paints if you have like a cloth shoe, because I know you can paint over Vans and things that are canvas like Converse, but I believe you have to mix the paints with a like part 2 softener. All of the shoes that I got for my collection, luckily I really scored. I think they quite mimic the vague shoe ideas that I sketched in my like overall illustration board, and that was just kind of me tossing in my idea of what I wanted for a shoe. And then I actually went in, I can throw this up now, I went in on Procreate. So after I came home from the thrift store, I took a photo of all the shoes together and then all the shoes individually, like each pair, and then I went in on Photoshop and I brought in the image of each shoe, brought in the image of the model and what the model was wearing, and that is how I figured out which paints to even buy, because I had filled up my cart on the like Angelus paint website with pink, yellow, lime green, this beautiful blue, and a lavender, and it was a little bit out of the budget. You know, they're really good paints. They are kind of working magic, so I'd say you get what you pay for, but I definitely needed to cut down a couple colors, so it helped me to plan out, and I sketched over each shoe and designed what I thought would look good with the dress or the garment or the model, whatever. So this gave me a little mock-up blueprint of what I was going to do to each shoe, and it helped me figure out, okay, I guess I don't need the lilac, I guess I don't need the spring green, even though I want it. And do make sure, if you're gonna follow this like a tutorial, because I'm gonna try to make it all inclusive and have most of the stuff, yeah, make sure you know what shoe you're painting on and if you need the hardener or the softener stuff. So yes, I have here a couple pairs. I keep the rest of my shoe painting supplies in this box. So I have my paints, which is the most obvious thing that you need to buy, probably. You also need to get a finisher or a sealant of some kind. They have like matte and satin and gloss. I wasn't sure to get the satin or the matte, and like I said, I haven't done this step yet. We're about to for the video. So this is what they look like unsealed. They haven't been worn yet, obviously. So yes, you have to make sure you get your sealant finisher layer as well on top of your paints. You also have to make sure you pick up, I think, hopefully I'm not getting like scammed, but I did decide to get the Angelus brand leather preparer and deglazer. This isn't just the cleaning step, we're gonna go into it in a sec, but you should also have some isopropyl alcohol on hand and a way to apply that. I have some little cotton balls here. But then after that, you do also do the leather deglazing, which I guess just kind of removes a layer from the surface of the shoe and prepares it for the new layer a little bit. Whenever I was using this on this pair, it really brought off like a whole layer of paint. So yeah, there's some sort of chemical magic in this. Yeah, this is a big no drinky. And this was my whole haul from the website, but you may also need the softener, hardener stuff. You may also need many less colors, but my collection is very like color blocky rainbow. I wanted to make sure that since my collection isn't like tied together cohesively by 1 or 2 colors, that any of the 5 colors, pink, yellow, green, blue, purple, they have to pretty much match wherever they are. You will also need some painter's tape or duct tape to tape off parts of the shoe. This is really important. You need this anyway, whether you're doing multiple colors or not, because you're probably gonna wanna tape off the sole of the shoe or like the grommets or the laces or whatever. And a palette of sorts. I have this very, very muchly used flower-shaped palette here. So without further ado, let's switch to shoe cam and we're gonna go step by step on how I paint and revamp and cutify a pair of secondhand shoes. I'm definitely still more of a beginner on this, so I do encourage you, if you're gonna use this as some sort of tutorial, I'm gonna try to make it everything that I know, and this is how I successfully painted these shoes, I hope you'll find at the end. I think they turned out pretty good. But yeah, I feel like this is like a huge hobby with kind of like where like there's, I feel like there are major pros at this out there, so definitely listen to them too. But I just want to take you guys step by step, and we're going to transform these black platform shoes I got from the thrift store into a colorful pastel shoe that will go with my line. So first step is to prepare the shoe. You're going to want to clean it, unbuckle it. So unbuckle, unstrap, get it all, take off any tags, stickers, and if there's any like visible dirt, because these are shoes, and if you're like me and you're getting them secondhand, you don't know where that person was stomping around. You're gonna want to get rid of any obvious dirt first, and then I went in with rubbing alcohol and a little cotton pad, and I just cleaned the entire surface of the shoe that I was gonna paint with that. I know this is like tedious and not fun, but you really want to be sure that you take your time with these steps and get all of those crevices, because I think this is one of those things where the quality at the very end really depends on what you do at the start. After that, step number 2 is to apply the leather prep and deglazer. This stuff definitely has some magic in it. Also, I really recommend you wear gloves. I didn't have gloves at this time, and I just went in, and it definitely, like, it fully lifts a layer of the paint, especially on the heel part of this shoe. And some of that got on my skin, and that was probably not great for me, so, you know, probably protect yourself when you do this. And again, with a little cotton pad, I just get every single little square centimeter of this shoe that I'm going to paint. And now it's taping time, so you're gonna wanna tape with painter's tape. For me, this was the, like, sole part. What do you call that? The insole, the part that your foot actually goes on, and then also the buckles I wanted to protect. If I could go back, I would probably tape off the very itty-bitty little bottom sole edge that you see that, like, touches the ground, but I ended up just kind of painting over that, and it looks fine. Again, these are for full body photo shoots, so I just need the shoe to be a pretty color. They won't be looked at that close. And after we have done all that, it is time to paint. Now, the really, really handy, super cheeky hack that I discovered when watching videos on how to paint with the Angelus shoe leather paints is that you have to mix a lot with white. So when you're placing your order for your paints, make sure you order a big old thing of just flat white, because to build up the layers, you want to work in really, really, really thin layers, or it's just gonna be a globby mess. And to make those thin layers pack the most punch, you want to mix each layer a different ratio of white to your hue that you want. I find it can take anywhere from like 4 to 7 layers to kind of get a really opaque, nice, smooth color finish. So I really eyeballed this. You can say that the first coat is like 80-20, the second coat is 60-40, the third coat is 40-60, the fourth coat is 20-80, and then the fifth coat would just be 100% your hue you want. But I kind of just eyeballed this, and I like glugged a bunch of white with 1 drop, and then I did like 2 drops, and then I did like 3 drops. And one thing that I also found with these Angelus paints is that they dry, I'd say, a good 2 to 3 tones darker than how they look whenever the paint is poured out into the palette. And this is very noticeable when you go to apply a new coat, because you're like, oh, that's not the same color that's underneath. So really do be aware of that when you're mixing your colors too. I think I fell victim to this when I did my first pair that have like the pink and the yellow and the mint blue straps all going around. I really wish that pink was more pastel. I might redo it if I have time, or I might not, because there are pinks like that in my line as well. But yeah, basically you want your first coat to be very, very, very white with just a touch of your color. The second coat, you want a little bit more color in there. The third coat, a little bit more color. And be careful, because if the color you're going for is already a very pastelified version, like mine, you don't want to go too far and accidentally make them dark, because you're just adding layers, and then you're like, oh no, this is bubblegum when I wanted petal pink. So yeah, this is a process. I have, honestly, several pairs right now. I have 3 that are in process that have like a number of layers. I think I have 5 layers on those yellow boots right now because they're going all the way from black to yellow. So that's quite a jump, and I find the yellow paint is a bit more kind of sheer. So that one takes a little bit more coaxing, even on the tan pair that I did where I did that yellow strap. Anyway, I feel like this is definitely a hobby or a craft where experience will come in handy, where you get to learn how different shoe textures react and which paints are kind of more opaque and which ones are a bit more sheer. The last step is to apply the finisher. There are matte, satin, gloss, lots of different types of finishers. I opted for this one because I thought, actually mostly because it looked like the most popular one that people were using in videos, and I just wanted to play it safe. The finisher is a lot more thin and liquidy, so you want to be super like super kind of careful and kind of feather it on. I found that I had to kind of go back over areas and be really careful. You want to make this a super thin coat as well, it says right on the bottle. You definitely have to kind of dance around with this one and make sure you get a nice, clean, smooth finish, because the last thing you want is to mess up the shoe that you were just finally happy with and ready to seal. And after we remove the tape, can I get a drum roll? Here are the finished shoes! I know they're not perfect, and they're a little messy, but for me, for this purpose, for my line, for my models, I am so happy and excited. I can't believe these used to be black. Can I get a side-by-side? Look how minty and pastel-y and happy. I did sketch this out with a little cloud and a sun on the strap. For the purpose of this video, I wanted to kind of play it safe, and I might do that after with a Cricut or with an applique, perhaps. Maybe I will embellish the shoes further once I know I'm done the garments. But yeah, that has been my little tutorial on how to paint and revamp shoes with leather paint. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank Skillshare for sponsoring another video on the channel. Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of classes for you to discover. You just type in whatever you feel like learning that day, whatever itch your brain would like to scratch, and you can find classes by tons and tons of different people. They are chopped up into little bite-sized portions of just a few minutes, but altogether they can equal hours of expert content brought to you by people who know what they're talking about. I really like this for my very choosy attention span, and also it's great for learning on the go. Skillshare classes have no ads, which is also great for not interrupting your learning flow. I am about to graduate from college and be not a student for the first time in a long time, so this is kind of a really nice way that I know I can always keep learning things and picking up new little skills, that people share. The first 1,000 people to use the link in my description will get 3 months of Skillshare Premium free, but after that, it is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription. Let me ask you a question. Do you think there might be a Skillshare class on how to use Angela's leather paints to customize your own footwear? My cat just came in and she said, I think there is, and she is right. You can take this Skillshare class, Sneaker Customizing for the Beginner. Learn how to paint your sneakers by Gigi Rogers, someone who has been doing this clearly for longer than me, and get a little more extra info after this video. I really hope you guys check out Skillshare to stimulate your noggin with me and keep learning. And thank yous again to Skillshare for always supporting this channel. Okay, this video's featuring particular member is Mahou.Club Design, okay, we got an assignment at school to design jewelry for any celebrity or public figure, and I chose pixie locks. The idea behind these earrings is basically what would Pixie's wand look like if she was a magical girl. They're made of gold-plated silver and 4 different colored gems. Look at this! What? This is so cool. It's a 5-petal flower on a little like break-your wand stick with a little heart. Oh my god. I don't even know what to say. This is amazing. Thank you for sharing this with me. Oh my god, how cool. This is a very ecstatic featuring Betty Club member, but I'm gonna keep it like this. I'm not gonna refilm it. I love you guys very much. Thank you for joining me for another video. I hope you enjoyed this, even though it was kind of a specific thing, and maybe if you aren't going to go customize your own shoes, hope you just enjoyed hanging out with me on this sunny crafternoon. Do you see the horizontal rainbow on my vertical rainbow wall that is shining ever so? That's magic, mama. And with that, I shall say goodbye. I love you guys so much. I will see you in the next video, which is not this one, because this one's over. Bye!